Hi everyone, welcome to Words With Wista. Welcome to my not so personal diary where we get real, we keep it honest. We sometimes stay off a topic, but we get right back into it. If you're part of the Wista Gang, part of the Wista Group, part of the Wista Posse, welcome back. I missed you. And if you are a new listener, as in the words of Pop Smoke, rest in peace to Pop Smoke. Welcome to the party. And if you end up leaving the party, girl, I really don't care. You wasn't meant to be around for a long time, okay? There's plenty of people who have left the party, and guess what? They don't have no invitation to get back into the club. Now, wow, you guys, we have a lot of topics to talk about. I know now we're currently doing 2 episodes a week. Honestly, I'm gonna have to cut them short because I got 17 topics, and then we have some breaking news as well too. Um, let's just get to life update. Yeah. Life update. Life is life. I've been reflecting a lot when it comes to this overall year. I can personally say that my most important thing I'm going to tell you is pay attention to signs. And sometimes you've gotten signs about certain things that are going to enter your life ahead of time. And I'm just clocking certain things. I'm going to say this, just believe in yourself, and sometimes you think people aren't watching or people that are going to be opening those doors for you aren't watching, and they are. That's all I can say for you. Yes. And guys, what is this? This is episode 191. Wow, we are almost at the 200 episode mark and the 10-year anniversary of this show. Oh my gosh. That is crazy. I just want to say, let me give a dedication to the Worcester Gang. I feel like this community and just everything that I've been growing. I'm also reflecting on the fact that my Saturn return is about to end. And anybody who knows me, I'm very much into like astrology and everything like that. My Saturn return is in my 11th house, which, if we're going by tropical astrology, it's Aquarius slash Pisces. But I'm going to say it feels like it's more on the Aquarius side just because of the twists and turns and all the lessons and everything. That has to do with friendships. That has to do with your goals and aspirations and your inner dreams and social media. And I have to say, ever since rebranding the name of the show, and I always tell people, sometimes you have to rebrand something. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to like really go crazy, but a rebrand, changing the name, switching up the topics a little bit, or covering certain things, or discovering, or just adding a little seasoning to the dish that you're currently curating. Not me thinking about food right now, that's bad. But still, I'm so happy I rebranded this show. I feel like it's only been what? It hasn't even been a year since I rebranded the show in January. And look at all the amazing changes that has happened. Just everyone reaching out. Shout out to everybody who's been writing reviews. Even if there's certain topics you guys want me to talk about, sending that over and let me know. I truly am grateful. I love y'all. Any single time there's like good news that happens for this show, it's a win for me and you. And that's why I say y'all part of the What's the Gang, What's the Crew. But we do need to have an official name. There is a listener that has been listening to the show for years. And I remember you had put in What's the Gang. I want to give you your attribution. Can I give you your credit? Please. But what could we call ourselves other than that? Because, they got Barty Gang. They got, we didn't talk the Barbs. They got the Beehive. They got the Rihanna Navy. What do they call them damn Ariana Grande fans? The Grenaders or some shit like that. The Believers. Somebody said we gotta call ourselves What's the Warriors. Oh no, bitch. We are not warriors, honey. We don't do that, okay? No, we don't be fighting. We don't put hands or anything. We attack people spiritually, not physically, because it always ends up working out in our favor. But still, let me know. But yeah, shout out to you guys. What's the Gang? Love you guys. And I can't wait to see all the amazing things we do in 2026. Yes. There's a lot of changes coming to the show too. Just know guest episodes are coming back. That's all I could say. But if you want to be a guest on the episode, just know that you don't necessarily have to be somebody in the entertainment business or anything like that. You could be in any industry. Do you have a conversation you want to talk about? Email me or send me a DM. Thank you. Now let's get on to these topics. Let's get on to this spiel right now because we know we got to talk about politics. We come from many different places. We come from many different races. We come from many different ethnicities. We come from many different financial backgrounds. But what brings us all together? The economy and politics. So let's talk about what the Trump administration is fucking up this week. Now, let's do some breaking news first. Breaking news. The Brown University shooting suspect found dead after the manhunt. Yes, the Brown University suspect has been found dead. They found him dead in, I think that what are they saying? In a unit, and they found 2 firearms, and they found out that he is actually a Portuguese national. You see, this is trying to show you guys that the perpetrator, when it comes to these certain situations, can be from anywhere, right? Now it's thinking like, okay, well, how are you guys going to like overcome this, right? What are the next steps to this? Because this is somebody who's not even from America, who came in here and literally caused a traumatic situation that's going to affect the lives of many, and 2 lives were lost, right? What are the next steps? What are we about to do for these gun laws? Because make it make sense. This should have never happened. What was behind this? Are we going to go do a social media check? Do we have their devices? The FBI, what the heck you guys are doing? By far, I'm sorry, this FBI for this administration, y'all trash. But then again, too, y'all are led by a Hindu Indian man who thinks that he is a white man that literally recites lines as if he is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I don't know if you guys know, Dan Bongino, who was like a second man hand, has stepped down from the FBI. So, make it make sense. That's enough to tell you. Don't be surprised where some of these DE&I hires for this administration, since this administration literally is full of DE&I hires, but they're getting rid of DE&I benefits and packages and just overall programs, which is like, y'all are literally the ones who would be in these programs. Yeah, but still, it's interesting to see how these play out. Honestly, we're just gonna have to see how this plays out. But for the fact that the second hit man to the FBI has stepped down, that tells you enough. And the fact that even when it comes to this administration, I don't know if you guys know too, I did talk about the fact that Venezuela and the U.S. are currently at the brinks of going to war. And we know Nicki Minaj, who is from Trinidad, who literally went to the UN to talk about the unalivings of Christians in Nigeria, when really there are literally U.S. troops being stationed to Trinidad to help and potentially harm Venezuela. And it's like, girl, your country is literally about to be going through shits. And this is what you want to talk about. And I don't know if you guys know about the shootings and also the bombings for those boats in the Caribbean, which they're trying to say were filled with drugs and everything like that, where there's a certain point where one of the boats actually got attacked and there were actually 2 survivors. I don't know if you guys know, but there are actually certain laws, but also certain ethics that the military and just overall the defense runs on when it comes to just overall, when it comes to attacking or launching certain like missiles or anything like that. Once they've destructed the form of like transportation, whether it's a boat, whether it is a helicopter, a plane, right? Let's say, for example, survivors do survive. You take those survivors in. Yes, you will take them to get medical treatment, but you take them and you put them in prison or you lock them up till they get trialed. And they did not do that. So they attacked them the first time, and the 2 survivors who were looking for help, which still running on the morals and ethics of how it runs specifically, they were actually supposed to save those 2 folks that were survivors within that attack, but they did not. So that is leading to a lot of people within not only the Senate, but the House of Representatives thinking, okay, what are our resources being used for? Because now we're finding out that those boats that were they attacked within the Caribbean, some of those boats were actually just like boats carrying people who are trying to do imports and exports, and there were no drugs involved. Or those boats were going to other places and they were going to Europe. They were not even going to America, bitch. They were not even going to America. Oh, well, we save people from drugs and everything like that. Bitch, you think that even if they were getting imported to America, you think that motherfuckers not gonna find different ways to get high? Think about it. There were people trying to get high off of crazy glue. People are gonna find ways to get the feeling of a high somehow, some way. Just stop it. Like, just say that you guys did something that was ethically, morally not right. I get it. Y'all wanted to attack the boat, y'all attacked the boat. But when it goes to the guidelines that has been solidified by the founding fathers that you guys claim that y'all respect so much, y'all say, oh yeah, America, America, America. But then why are you not following the rules of your founding fathers? Make it make sense. But you know what? That's what I got to say about that part. Now let's talk about this real life Hunger Games that the Trump administration is trying to do. Honestly, I have to say this. Donald Trump, Donnie, let me talk to you, Donald. Donald, I see what you're trying to do. You're turning the White House into the National House of Entertainment. And I've always said this, that when this man is in office, yes, it's going to be more entertainment rather than the aspect of taking anything seriously. And this man is literally taking Ninja Warrior to the White House. You guys remember that show Ninja Warrior on NBC? Because, you know, he partners with NBC. Yeah, not surprised. Well, Trump announced that the first Patriots games will be happening next year. So basically, the Patriots game is where they will take teens from each state, a teen boy and a teen girl, to come to DC to battle it out within, I don't know how many days, but basically a physical test. You know how we were talking about the fact that they want to bring back certain physical tests back into the school system? That's basically what it is, but it's going to be broadcasted, right? And then I guess in the end of it, you get a prize. So I'm not surprised. I will not be surprised that this airs on Paramount or CBS. This is an exclusive live thing. I won't be surprised if this airs right after the Super Bowl or during, in that middle section. He's going to pick a specific day and say, yeah, it's happening on this day. And then he's going to try to make it a federal holiday or a national day for people to go view it, or people to have that day off so everyone can watch these teens embarrass themselves. Yeah. And you know what? I personally say this. Send the kids of the parents that voted for that man to go participate in that. Yup. Send them. Send them. I blame your parents, bitch. Now you got to embarrass yourself on national TV for Donald. But yes, this is the real life Hunger Games. I don't know what it is. We are in a simulation. I am ready for this administration to get out of here. That's what I got to say. But in addition to that too, because we are talking about the fact that like people are going to war. We're talking about the aspect of soldiers. We also talked about the real life Hunger Games. Well, Trump had a whole like press conference where he was talking about the holiday season and how like, yeah, the economy's not that great, but I wasn't given a good economy. Donald, let me have a conversation with you, Donald. Geminis, one thing about Geminis, you guys will try to twist the plot or twist the conversation, and sometimes we have to bring you guys right back into reality. It is about to be a year since you've been in office. We've already seen the records of how the job market is. We've just heard that jobs have barely been added since you've been in this freaking presidency. Jobs have actually declined and gone into the negatives. We're also hearing for the fact that the black unemployment rate is higher than what it was in 2009. What? And now you're trying to say that you are going to give warrior dividends of $1,776 to every U.S. soldier. But then again, too, what about those TSA agents that were working during the government shutdown that you guys said you guys were going to give them a 10K bonus? They are still waiting for that 10K. They are still waiting for that 10K. You're out here suing all these media conglomerates, collecting these checks. But what about the checks for the people that still keep this country running? And while you're doing these egregious ass laws, think about it. Gosh. And not only in addition to that, You're trying to rename historical buildings. Sir, sir, why do you feel the need to call the Kennedy Center the Trump Kennedy Center? What have you done for the arts? What have you done for music? What have you done for those things? I could have understood if you were to do something having to do with Ronald Reagan, because Ronald Reagan used to be an actor. You are in entertainment. I could have understand you trying to insert your name with Reagan because that was an actor. But for you to try to implement and put yourself in the same line of legacy with a JFK, yeah, hang it up. Hang it up. And then you had Maria Shriver, who is the niece to JFK, and who also used to be married to Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was what? Was it Arnold Schwarzenegger, the governor of California? Californians, I know I'm correct about that. But for her to be with Arnold Schwarzenegger, let's not forget, Arnold Schwarzenegger had a whole baby on Maria Shriver. I don't know if you guys remember that Arnold Schwarzenegger actually had a baby with his housekeeper. You know, that's the child that like looks just like him and wants to be like all like muscly and everything like that. But you could tell like the kids he had with Maria don't mess with him like that. And then also Maria Shriver's daughter is actually married to Chris Pratt, who used to be married to Anna Faris, you know, the blonde girl, the white girl from the Scary Movie franchises. And Chris Pratt is actually the lead actor in the Guardian Galaxy films. And he's actually like a very crazy, devoted Christian. Like he ride or die for Jesus. And he's also allegedly a Trumpster, and he's from Virginia, which we need to talk about. A lot of the problematic celebrities, like a lot of y'all from Virginia. Chris Brown, Trey Songz, Chris Pratt. Interesting. But we'll talk about that another time. But still, Maria Shriver literally went on X and read you and said, how dare you try to even put yourself on the same legacy as her uncle? And for the fact that her uncle started that center due to his interest for the arts, and also her aunt Jackie O and her love for the arts as well. Even JFK's grandson was like, what the heck? Who voted into this? And I know a lot of people were like, oh, you see, this is what happens. Now they care about it because it's affecting them. I have to say this as somebody who's actually been very much into politics. The Shriver family and the Kennedy family have definitely done a lot when it comes to advocating for people. So I'm not going to say this about them. They've done a lot of advocating. They even disowned RFK Jr. when he was running for presidency and all the crazy things. Honestly, I really think RFK was like, you know what? We're cool. I'm a Kennedy. You know, you gave me this job. You can go put this on my uncle's thing. That's crazy. RFK Jr., I don't expect much from you anyways. I really don't. But that's crazy for you to let that man really try to mess with your uncle's legacy. That's why you're a disgrace to the Kennedy legacy. But still, the Trump Kennedy Center, I can't wait till we get a Democrat back in office and they need to change up all these damn buildings. What's next? Just like Maria Shriver said, you're about to call yourself the Trump Smithsonian? What? Mount Rushmore about to be Trump Rushmore? Were you about to try to make them build you on Mount Rushmore? You know what? Let me keep going. Let me just go to the next topic because I always get annoyed talking about this damn man. Donald, oh my God. You are like textbook narcissist. That's what I have to say. And in addition to this as well, let's talk about the staff of the White House and this Vanity Fair photo shoot and this interview where we find out that Susan Wiles, who literally is kind of like the head chief officer when it comes to any of his actions, any moves that he wants to make, she's basically like his strategist. I don't know what he was thinking when he was hiring her. Now, Donald, let me have a conversation with you. Sir, you want things to be about you. You like people to kiss your ass. Why did you hire Susan Wiles? Everyone thought, like, yeah, she has experience, but you don't hire her if you want her to kiss your ass, because she was literally saying and spilling all the tea. She probably won't have a job by the new year. Let's be real. The inner Trump administration is about to be doing some layoffs. Some people are about to be losing their jobs. Christy Nome, you're one of them too. Kash Patel, you're one of them too. And I can't wait for you to get that POC reality check. I'm ready for that. But still, this Vanity Fair photo shoot was just a hot mess. The Vanity Fair photo shoot, like, you know how we talk about how like Vogue magazine likes to screw over like black celebrities with their photo shoots and makes it look like very dark and cold. This thing that they did for Vanity Fair just exposed everything when it comes to this administration. Caroline Levitt, girl, you're 28 and you look like you're pushing your 40s. That is crazy. For the fact they had a close-up of your face, I could see all your wrinkles. I could see all the injection marks for your Botox. Ooh, thank God I have natural lips. Thank God. But it's the fact that you're 28. Honey, look at me and look at you. I still get carded at the club, honey. I still get carded at bars. I still get asked if I'm still in college. I got a whole master's degree, honey. And look at you. You look like you at least going through 3 midlife crises. Stop it. Then you got JD Vance. JD always gonna like JD. JD always gonna look like the freaking gentrifier, the first millennial to step his foot into Brooklyn and try to gentrify it with whiskey and freaking avocado toast and shit like that. JD just looks like JD, okay? Not a good looking white man, just a hot mess. Wrinkles, eyeliner, just a hot mess. Marco Rubio, which is probably the only person who's really qualified for his job, not really. Yeah, you're just there. You're just, I'm putting air quotes, diversity. That's it. You're just a Latino for Trump. And then Susan Wise, like, girl, those pictures they took of you, just bad. Just the pictures just look like a commercial for like somebody who's trying to recover from an addiction. It was giving very much a dermatologist's office who was doing an x-ray to show you what your skin should not look like. It even gave me a skin cancer like commercial. That's what it felt like. You know what I mean? Like, you know how like they do like those commercials or those ads for like skin like dermatologists, or like even like skin cancer ads, or like making sure you put on your sunscreen. Whenever I like saw those pictures, I just thought of, oh yeah, y'all are not wearing sunscreen. That's what I thought. Y'all are not wearing sunscreen. And wow, whoever took these pictures, they knew what they were doing. Whoever did the interviews knew what they were doing. Do not be surprised if the Trump administration try to sue Condé Nast eventually. And Condé Nast has the money to go bar to bar. And if they sue Condé Nast, I just want to let you guys know some companies that are involved with Condé Nast. Vogue magazine, Harper's Bazaar, Vanity Fair. A lot of the top digital but also editorial outlets are actually within Condé Nast. So let's say, for example, Condé Nast gets sued, then Anna Wintour is kind of involved in getting sued as well. But she's not really involved within Vanity Fair, but overall, she's one of the executives within the conglomerate. But, you know, that's just the little PR in me. I know people work at Condé Nast. I've been to the Condé Nast buildings, but you know, that's a conversation for another time. Okay, we've been talking about the freaking administration for 23 minutes, and I'm just going to say this right here. So the Democrats have released dozens of images from the estate of the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein on Thursday, which is today. But obviously the day that this episode comes out is Friday, and we know that literally tomorrow is the deadline for the DOJ to put out the files. So we'll figure out if the files come out, y'all. So if the files come out, we will be talking about it for the Monday episode. So we'll see what happens. We'll see. But just know, if they do come out the day of that deadline, just know they're going to so many statements are going to be retracted. And it's just, yeah, this should not take so long. Why are you guys waiting until the due date to do this? Like, y'all just decided to wait to due date. You guys could have dropped this anytime. Holidays are almost here. You guys think we're going to be distracted by this? Because we're going to be talking about this all until to Christmas. So I don't know why you guys decided to drop it on the weekend. Because whenever you drop news on a weekend, like on a Friday, that means you expect people to talk about it on the weekend. So I don't know what's going to happen. We'll see what happens eventually tomorrow when this episode drops. Hopefully they drop the files. If they don't, that tells you enough about this damn administration. But you should not be expecting much from this administration. So Candace Owens and Erica Kirk, I don't know why I'm talking about these two, but these two women, I guess it's something about Charlie. I don't know what it is. Erica Kirk is on the pipeline of the mourning widow who is taking on her husband's legacy. I'm like coming from the PR background, and I was talking to one of my professors about this, and even one of like my mentors was in the field, and she had mentioned that like whenever a public figure's wife, like say a public figure passes away, I don't want to bring up Kobe, but I have to. So like we talk about the mourning wife, and then it ends up for the mourning wife to become a public figure. Some of them might try to like take a deep dive into it, or some of them will kind of be pushed into the public figure image, but then take a step back, which we saw Vanessa do take the public figure image within it, but then she's taking a step back. Yes, we hear about Vanessa Bryant, but it's not to the extent where we're hearing about Erica Kirk. But then again, too, yes, they were both with men that were in a spotlight, but in two different ways, right? Kobe was influential in the aspect of sports, but just overall empowerment and overall everything of like excellence, while Erica's husband, I guess he was influential for a specific group of people, but yeah, and he influenced a specific group of people, not worldwide, as in you had people in like countries like China crying that like when we heard about the passing of Kobe Bryant, right? But Vanessa took a step back, while we're seeing like an Erica Kirk taking a step forward, doing interviews, doing all these things. So with that as well, we also have to realize too is that her husband had like a media platform and everything, and a company, so she's probably thinking about that as well too. And let's not forget, yes, although that company does spew a lot of things that we disagree with, many things that we disagree with, there are people who work within those corporations, those conglomerates, that are depending on that entity to provide them with funds so they can feed themselves and their families. But then again too, the main person y'all support is the reason why y'all are even in this situation when it comes to this economy. But we know that Candace Owens, I've talked about her so many times. If you don't know who she is, she's a black woman with a non-silky silk press that looks oily. She loves to just give a different opinion. People who are not fond of black people love her. The racists love her. The MAGA folks love her. That's what it is. She be shucking and jiving, but you know what? It is what it is. She found her lane. She found her lane. That's it. She be shucking and jiving, but she found her lane. So she's been shucking and jiving ever since for so long, right? Okay. She was very close with Charlie Kirk, and I guess she's been saying that there's conspiracy theory about these things, and I guess Erica Kirk did an interview with Barry Rise, who is the head of CBS News editorial, but they actually did like a video interview. And even with that too, the CBS News interview that Erica Kirk didn't even do good in numbers. They were expecting to do good in numbers, but it did terrible numbers. We could see her talking, and she mentioned Candace Owens, and you can see how quickly Erica Kirk's face went from being happy to being disgusted within the point of 2 seconds. I said, damn, bitch. You went from looking like a regular, basic bitch, looking like a freaking Disney villain. You look like Scar. She was giving Scar, Wicked Witch of the what? I don't even watch Wicked, but you look like the freaking evil witch from freaking Wicked. Like you look like that. You look like the freaking evil witch. You look like Cinderella's freaking stepmother, bitch. That's what you was looking like. Well, problematic ass Megyn Kelly and NBC. I will never forgive NBC for giving Megyn Kelly a platform. You guys gave her a 1 hour slot during the daytime show where you guys replaced Al Roker, Tamron Hall, And the other black female journalist that had a show, I forgot her name, but sadly her husband did pass away this year from brain cancer. But they had their own 1 hour slot. You guys canceled it for Megyn Kelly to have a slot. It fumbled and it cracked. And then you tried to bring them back. But you know what? That was a blessing in disguise for them, because look at this. Tamron Hall has her own show. So I guess blessings, like one door closes, a bigger opportunity does come in. But Megyn Kelly was like, oh yeah, she's the reason why those two had a conversation. Girl, shut up and go sit somewhere. Like, please. Go sit somewhere. Like, shut up. But I guess they had like a private conversation, and Candace went on YouTube, and there were like 20 million people watching her live stream where she was talking about her conversation with Erica. And honestly, Candace didn't say anything that was worthy of like, dang, let me report back and let you know about this. All I can say is it just goes to show you that some people's, I could say some people's main point of like conversation or point of how they portray themselves within the media, or they see themselves as a public figure, is just based off of controversy. And eventually people are going to get tired of that. But you know what? If the ladies had a conversation, but still, I don't know. Somebody needs to do some digging on that relationship between Charlie and Candace. Because the minute y'all brought up that black woman, her face turned real crazy. And I'm thinking to myself, is Miss Kirk, how did you lived in Manhattan? You lived in New York. How were you around black people? But then again, too, you give me very much, you stay on the Upper East Side. You're not stepping your foot into Harlem. There's a certain cut of Central Park you will not be stepping your foot into. You've never been to Brooklyn. Well, you've definitely been to Williamsburg, but you've never been to like other parts of Brooklyn. You've never been to Queens, certain part of Queens, and you've definitely never been in the fucking Bronx, bitch. I know that for sure. But interesting with that. But yeah, the girls had a conversation. Candace, you didn't say nothing to really report, make us even want to talk about this. But you know what? Still, again, whoever is doing your silk press, girl, please hire somebody new. You have too much money to be walking around with an oily silk press. I get it. You don't like Kamala Harris, but you can go ask her for a recommendation. Because it is 2025. That bob needs to grow a little bit longer. And honestly, stop making your hair look oily. Stop it. And get some new makeup. Because the makeup is getting very much stuck in 2010. But hey, it is what it is. You found a way to make a lane and pivot. That's all I can say. You found a way to like shuck and jive and let that specific group of people like you. You got an audience, so it is what it is. So let's move on to the medical industry. I feel like now with this administration, I've been covering a lot of news going on in medicine. So you know what? Call me Dr. Wista. Call me Wista MD. But I ain't got no real MD. But I read. You shut up. Let me shut up. I'm pretty sure there's probably a med student or like a practicing physician listening to this right now and like, girl, what are you talking about? But yes, the CDC officially ends hepatitis B vaccines for newborns. Yeah, this is very serious. So they're ending the mandatory like vaccine for hepatitis B for newborns, but parents can actually have their kids take the vaccine upon request. It's moments like this that makes me think y'all are crazy to have kids during this administration. Like, keep your poom poom closed. Your poom poom don't need to bring life during this administration. Keep your legs closed, honey. Protect yourself. Female condom, male condom, spermicides, all that. Protect yourself. You and your partner could wait a little bit longer. Y'all could wait a little bit longer. 2028 is just around the corner. Midterm elections is literally next year. Hold it in for a bit. You could wait another time to have something in your tummy tum tum for 9 months. Y'all are crazy to have kids during this administration. Do you not see what they're doing? They're trying to pause all these vaccines, and they're saying that vaccines are causing this and that. But it's like, no, it's not. It's not. It is not. I'm sorry, but it's the fact that you have a man who literally does not have a med degree, not even certified in vaccinations, has not studied anything in medicine, no internal medicine, nothing, has never stepped his foot into a medical school, has probably never stepped his foot into a residency program, has probably never really had a real conversation with someone who is in medical school or went to medical school or consulted with somebody who actually studied medicine, specifically when it comes to curating vaccines. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear this. Like, you couldn't give this job to Dr. Oz? Make it make sense. You couldn't find a doctor that was all about you to go do this? Because I know there's some doctors that probably ride with Trump. You couldn't find somebody that was riding with you to go be your lapdog when it comes to the health sector, which still does not make sense to me when it comes to Donald Trump, because it's making me think about the fact that you had Ben Carson, who was a renowned surgeon, running transportation, but not running anything when it came to health. Like, what? Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. But now you have RFK Jr. who's running this, and all he's caring about is certain aspect of, like, he's talking about autism. He's talking about this, and he thinks that vaccines are going to stop autism when autism has been around before vaccines were ever even created. Autism was around when, like, before y'all was freaking colonizing these damn countries. Autism was around when the fucking dinosaurs was around, bitch. Like, shut up. Like, stop it. Just stop it. Just stop it. Just stop it. Because you see, it's making me think you got some sort of tism too. That's what it is. You probably got a tism too, RFK. And it's okay. I think I'm a little bit neurodivergent as well too. I've always said that. I haven't been diagnosed yet, but I do know there's something in me. Something there. But still, vaccines have saved the lives of many. Not only with that too, since we are talking about vaccines, I don't know if you guys know, but in New York, they literally just found the cure for sickle cell. Think about that. They just found the cure for sickle cell. So now that this has been announced, and we see how this administration is when it comes to the rights for Black people, specifically in America, you think they're not gonna try to see if they could blockade this, a disease that predominantly affects the Black community? You think they're not going to find a way to blockade this? Okay, pay attention to that. But I'm happy they found a cure in New York. And also, since we are still talking about New York and the medical field, well, Governor Kathy Hochul, and Kathy, we need to talk about your re-election, bitch, because I don't need that other bitch trying to be governor of New York. Please. I don't. But Kathy Hochul has announced that New York will be legalizing medically assisted death for the terminally ill. So as in somebody who's currently on their deathbed and the family has decided, okay, the person has decided that they don't want to be here no more, and the family has decided to come to the adjustment of that. Yes, now people who are terminally ill can actually receive medically assisted death rather than just passing away within the timely manner that they're supposed to pass away, depending on how much their body can handle. So yes, that is now legal within the state of New York. So yes, there's a lot of advancements when it comes to medicine within New York. And just know that, and I always say this, pay attention to states like New York and California. Whenever something is improved or cured or discovered within those two states, just know eventually it will be implemented in other states, specifically states like Illinois, mainly other blue states. The red states usually catch up later. It's like we're always a little bit more advanced. So like we already hear about the cures currently right now for sickle cell. I'm pretty sure red states probably won't really catch up to par to it until like 2030. I have to say that. And since I did mention the South, let's talk about this man in North Carolina who admitted to pulling out his IV and spraying his HIV positive blood into the eyes of 2 hospital workers during treatment. Well, he pleaded guilty and received a 91-day sentence which he has already served. But think about this. This case has like raised a lot of questions in safety of medical staff and what accountability looks like when it comes to high pressure moments within the emergency rooms, right? We know that there are ER doctors. They have to know these things because guess what? You're dealing with blood. But it's the fact that this man intentionally knew, pulling out his IV and using his blood as what? A weapon. Because obviously we know also there are laws that if you intentionally are spreading HIV, you can go to jail for that. And you knew you had it. Obviously, this man knew he had it. And for the fact that he was spraying it to get in people's eyes. And then that made people think of, okay, is a disease still spreadable if it's airborne and it lands on somebody? It's like, you can't be playing with things like that. Now it's making me think of, okay, hearing something like this, maybe there needs to be more repercussions, right? Remember at a certain point where medical professionals were wearing hazmat suits during COVID? Bring that shit back. Bring back the visor mask. Bring back this. I'm pretty sure, like, would this affect somebody who wears glasses? Not necessarily, as long as their mouth was closed and everything like that. But still, think about that. Imagine somebody who doesn't wear glasses and then boom, blood squirts into their eyes and they're thinking, oh shit, they might have been affected. You don't know if that blood is going to blind them. You don't know these things. But it's making you think like, dang, like these high earning careers, specifically when it comes to medicine, yes, they are being paid a lot of money, but sometimes they are being treated like shit. Like, I know people who are nurses and they tell me straight up, yeah, their patients have beat the shit out of them and said some crazy things to them. So think about that, because I see some of y'all want to be the baddie nurses. Girl, when you guys get into the field, yes, you might think it's for the aesthetics, but just remember, some of the things you see on social media, you might see the aesthetics and everything, is because they are selling you a dream. They are selling you courses. They're selling you courses. They're not telling you about the cons that comes with it. Having to deal with the public, specifically when it comes to dealing with taking care of people and healing them through health, right? Healing them through health. Black doctors have talked about the fact that they've had patients that don't want them to work on them because they are simply black. Think about that. Personally, for me, if I was in that shoes, I'd be like, well, then get better insurance, bitch. Get better insurance. Get a better insurance, bitch. You know, they see, ooh, this is why I couldn't be a doctor. Because I would be like, get better insurance. Because, you know, sometimes they say like newly doctors usually start with like certain ratings of insurance. I would go look at what insurance you on. Because how you going to say I can't work on you and then I see this is what you want? Okay. Yeah. Because you say I can't work on you, I'd be like, get better insurance then. But I think overall it does go to show you that like the people in the ER deal with a lot of bullshit. And it's like you don't know what kind of case you're going to get, right? You don't know if somebody's mentally sane or if somebody just is like out of it, right? Because that's another thing in addition to, you don't know people's medical histories, which is why I'm thinking there needs to be more repercussions when it comes to the protection of just medical workers as well, just because we've heard so many crazy things. But this, and for you to intentionally do this, like what did those healthcare workers do to you that you feel like you need to spray your blood on them and you know you have a life-threatening disease? There's something in that brain that isn't wired well, and they need to get to the bottom of this. Get a neurologist, get somebody. Let's move on to entertainment news. Honestly, I might think we might get through all these topics and we might actually stay within an hour mark. Let's see. Well, I don't know if you guys know, Wiz Khalifa has been sentenced to 9 months in prison in Romania for weed possession. The rapper is currently in the U.S. and it's unclear if Romania will try to get him and extradited to Romania. Now, we've talked about this before, and I feel like I have to reiterate this. I need you guys, specifically from Western countries, the U.S., the U.K., when you leave your country to go to, let me add in Canada too. But when you leave your country to go to another country where that has strict laws, just know your American rights are out the door. They do not care if you are from America, Canada, or the UK, bitch. France too, I'll put y'all in it too. They do not care. They don't care. You about care. Like, what are you guys? Make it make sense. Because too many times you guys are going to places like Dubai and getting locked up for 5 years. Did I not tell you guys about the rapper Fredo? The UK rapper Fredo did 5 years in prison in Dubai for smelling like weed or having some weed on him. How are you going to smoke weed in Dubai? What? You go to Romania. Did you not check about the laws? But then again, too, is you're kind of dumb for booking Wiz Khalifa to perform in Romania. That's another thing, too. Like, this man has a song called I Roll Up. Yeah. This man's whole, like, persona is based on weed. There's literally a weed strain called Khalifa Kush. Yeah. Make it make sense. Honestly, if you really want to get away with it, you should have had an edible on you. I feel like an edible would have made more sense. It looks like food. They can't say anything. They wouldn't be able to trace it back. Think about that. The only place I really think y'all can get away with having that on you physically would be the Netherlands. Hello, Amsterdam. Red light district. That's the place where you guys got to do that shit. Stop going to these super conservative ass countries and think that the privileges from being from a westernized, a first world country is going to benefit you. It's not. It's not. Think about how long it took to get Brittany Reiner back to the freaking U.S. and how they had to do a trade-off. They had to do a trade-off. And they had to send back one of the biggest vagabonds. And when I mean vagabonds, I mean criminals. The biggest criminals from Russia back to Russia to get Britney back to America, bitch. One of the biggest vagabonds. Vladimir said, I want my biggest vagabond to come back. Please. I'm sorry, but I just like saying the name Vladimir. It's just Vlad. Vlad said he want one of his biggest criminals. Whenever I say criminals, just knowing like Haitian culture, when you say criminals, that means like one of his biggest people. Like he want one of his biggest bad guys to go back. Okay, he want one of his big ones to come back. Girl. And the funny thing is, I actually do have listeners in Russia. Like, I really want to know, to the people from Russia who listen to the show, do you guys crack up when I say Vladimir? Like, whenever I bring up Russia, do y'all like crack up? Because I feel like y'all do. But either way, I just feel like if you are from a westernized, a first world country, you need to make sure you know the laws of these places. Because even for like a place like Jamaica that may have like a certain perspective in the media to be in a certain way, they have conservative views as well, right? I don't know about like countries like Japan. I don't know if Japan has like a very like strict laws when it comes to weed. I do have listeners out in Japan. Can y'all let me know this? Send me an email. But even with that too, I'd be iffy. Like, do you really want to be locked up in Romania? You want to be locked up in Romania? Like, at least make sure you locked up in like Sweden or Norway. At least they got programs and shit like that. I heard their jails be looking up to par because they have like IKEA furniture and shit like that. But still, who wants to be locked up in another country, period? Like, who wants to be locked up in general? No. Honestly, if Wiz Khalifa really wants to do this, try to get banned from even going to Romania. Because let's be real, like, some of us, like, let's be real, when we're thinking about traveling, is Romania the first place that pops in our head? Because I be forgetting Romania a country sometimes. I'm sorry. I know somebody from Romania is probably listening to this like, oh, you're American. Yes, bitch. I don't be thinking about your country. I don't be thinking. That's a place I really don't even feel like I'm going to ever step my foot into is Romania. Like, I can name other countries I'm stepping my foot into. If I really want to go, I can bring up Eastern European countries I would step my foot into before Romania. Yeah. But that's just another place on the list I just will not be stepping my foot into. That's it. It is what it is. Also, let's talk about some tragic news that just recently happened. This actually happened today, but former NASCAR champion Greg Biffle and his family have sadly passed away in a tragic plane crash. It was actually announced this morning that a private jet had crashed, And they had announced that the people on the plane were actually connected to NASCAR. And I think a lot of people were like, dang, like this man was known for driving fast vehicles, and for him to be gone from this earth with his family in a plane accident. And I think we tend to forget that, like, at the top of the new year, and especially after Trump had the power transferred to him after Biden had left, think about how many plane crashes that happened the minute Donald Trump entered into office. And that first 2 weeks, he did so many switches, right? So, what are we going to do to rectify this? Because this should not be happening. People should not be losing their lives. We know the fact that they had the government shutdown. That happened. We saw what happened when it comes to plane travel. You had the lead of transportation telling us that we need to dress nicer just to make sure that we have safe travels and that the process of plane traveling is fine. But this was a private jet. There needs to be an investigation on not only who owns the jet, but then also the company that provides these private jets, right? Because this should not be happening. This should not be happening. This should not be happening at all. And they actually do say that plane travel is actually way much safer than traveling in a vehicle. So, but still, let's not forget at the top of the year in 2025, there were a lot of plane crashes. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget the one that happened in DC and the other one that happened, I think, in Pennsylvania, where it burned down so many people's homes. Let's not forget those, because I feel like we tend to forget that those things happened. And so many things had happened throughout this year where it feels like things that happened in January happened in like 2024, 2023. Now, let's move on to New York based news when it comes to just overall media. We know there's a lot of changes what's coming to the media landscape. Well, if you guys don't know, Hot 97 is doing a great exodus, bitch. Hot 97 getting everybody out of here. We know that happened a couple months ago where they got rid of one of the head DJs. We know that Funkmaster Flex had switched his time slot to the afternoons. Well, now we're finding out that Funkmaster Flex will be hosting a morning show. I'm sorry, I do not want to hear Funkmaster Flex in the morning. I don't. I don't want to hear him in the morning. Do y'all not know how annoying it was growing up hearing this man on radio? Yes, I get it. You're a legend. You've opened doors for people. I love that. I don't care if y'all open doors for people, but still, you could still be revolutionary and icon to some sort of extent and be annoying as fuck. Because I can go down a list of people who are like that. But in addition to that, Ebro in the Morning has been canceled. And then also Miss Jones and Ed Lover, their show has been removed as well too. So they're doing a sweep, and it's like, okay, is Nessa, who is Colin Kaepernick's wife, she's been at Hot 97 for years. Is her show going to be affected as well? Is this going to be a situation where they want to get rid of people who may stand more on the left? Like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to figure this out, because what are you guys bringing in? But then also we have to think about the fact that a lot of shows that have been around for a couple years, regardless if it's 10 years, 15 years, I think it's starting to transition away, right? I did talk about how a lot of like legacy shows or shows like folks like myself grew up listening to or were inspired by. We're starting to see that door start to open. This is why I keep saying, for new talent, just know I've said certain things have to happen to usher that door in for newer talent. Or also brands have to go through a transitional change to see what is going to be the next phases when it comes to a legacy radio brand like a Hot 97. Are they going to focus on podcasts? Are they going to focus on TikTok? Which we do know that TikTok is actually getting closer. I think they just signed the deal for the buyout. So yeah, Oracle owns TikTok now. You know what? We'll talk about that on the Monday episode. But still. And we will be talking about that young lady who unalived herself on TikTok live as well too. But still, we're seeing the transition when it comes to legacy media or media conglomerates or media brands or just media entities that have been around for quite a bit. And it's like, okay, what are we going to do for the next steps? Because a morning radio show, yes, it's very much needed. People listen to the radio, but it's like, how are we going to move forward from this when people can literally get the same thing through podcasting, right? People would rather go listen to, let me pat myself in the back. People would rather go listen to Words With Wista rather than go listen to a radio show where, yes, you have callers call in and then you're playing music within the aspect of that. And then y'all not even playing songs that people want to hear on the radio. Think about that. But still, Ebro in the Morning, Ed Lover, Miss Jones, thank you so much for opening the door for many young talent within the New York scene, although y'all are not from New York. That's another thing too. Bring New Yorkers back to New York radio. Bring New York natives back to New York radio. Ebro is from Northern California. Laura Styles is Laura Styles from New York? All I know is Ebro not even from New York. He's not from New York. A lot of the people that y'all had on these shows are not from New York. And if we're talking about the Breakfast Club, the only person who's on the Breakfast Club that is from New York is DJ Envy. Charlamagne's from the Carolinas. Jess Hilaire's from Baltimore. Bring back New Yorkers on New York radio. Thank you. I would have said the same thing if I lived in LA. Think about it. Big Boy is from LA. Cruz from the Cruise Show is from LA. I can keep going. Bring back New Yorkers on New York radio. Angie Martinez's show is still successful because you know what? Let me not say because she's from New York, but still, it's that essence. That's what I gotta say. Wendy may have been from Jersey, but still, that New York essence was in her. And since I did mention podcasts, I don't know if you guys know, Netflix is just trying to buy up every entity like it's an infinity stone. They're just trying to buy up every entity. They just struck a deal with iHeartMedia, and they are having like an exclusive podcast, like video podcast deal, where basically any show from like the Black Effect Network, that's Charlamagne's podcast network, on iHeartMedia. Chelsea Handler also has a show with iHeart. Well, those shows are actually going to be featured on Netflix, which means a lot of those shows will actually no longer be available on YouTube, right? In addition with that as well, Spotify entered into a licensing agreement as well with Netflix earlier this fall. So Netflix is just trying to pile up and grab everything they can, just because too is we're seeing a shift within the media landscape. But then also, since you guys are buying Warner Brothers, you guys are buying this. Now you're telling me I have to pay money to go listen to Charlamagne talk with Andrew Scholes on The Brilliant Idiots, which I would never pay money for. Sorry. I would never pay money. I get it. Y'all gotta make your money. But I would not pay money for that. When it was free on YouTube. It was free on YouTube. Yeah, you had to watch a couple ads, but it was free on YouTube. Oh no. I'll just go listen to the audio. And this is going to show you that you see how like everyone's doing video podcasts. Audio only is about to get back and strike up again. Because for the fact that people have to pay all this money for visuals when you have YouTube, which is free. Yeah, you might have to watch some ads, but it's still free, right? And some people are irritated with the fact that these conglomerates want you to pay all this money for ad free, to the point where even I'm getting tired of even going on TikTok because everybody's trying to sell something. I'll say this is a win for the people involved at iHeart or the public figures involved, but still, this is still kind of lost because yes, there are some people who are going to go in and support, but there are some people who are going to backpedal from it too. And then in addition to that too, that also involves the Breakfast Club. So if I don't know if you guys know, the Breakfast Club is also part of iHeartMedia because iHeartMedia owns Power 1.5.1. It also owns Z100. Yes, a lot of those major shows are part of the iHeartMedia network. And iHeart has its own like podcast app, right? But let's not forget, you could have actually watched video episodes of the Breakfast Club on Revolt TV. Let's not forget who was very much tied to Revolt TV and why you could tell why At a certain point, people at the Breakfast Club were trying to not really say much about Diddy because that they were actually part of the Revolt TV network. I guess this Netflix deal struck the way for them to separate themselves from Revolt and all things Diddy, and that's what they had to do, and that's what they did. But still, it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out. And are Netflix going to be losing customers because you're buying Warner Brothers, you're buying all these things? You're going to have to rise up the prices for people to even catch these deals. I wish that Netflix kind of ran on a grandfathered like legacy account where if you were part of Netflix back when they were selling DVDs, you're locked in for that price. Like the Zeus network. If you joined when it was what, $4.99 a month, it's $4.99 a month for you. But don't be surprised when these streaming services are getting just as high as cable. You might as well just get cable. You might as well go get you a Verizon Fios. At least with Verizon Fios, you could struck a deal and you can get the streaming platforms and everything like that all in one bill. You can get HBO Max, and all that. Just log into your freaking Verizon account. That's what I do majority of the time anyways. So I don't know what else to tell you guys, but we'll see what happens. These prices is going up. Since I did bring up basically the film industry for a second, can we talk about the SpongeBob movie and this outfit that Ice Spice wore to a kid's film premiere? So she wore a white lace see-through dress with a bra and thong on. I just find it very, 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 very disturbing for you to be featured in a kid's film and this is what you decide to wear to a premiere for your film, and there are kids literally at the premiere. You took a picture with that one young girl who interviews rappers, and you took a picture with her with your whole ass out. That is very disturbing. Wrong place, wrong outfit. Wrong outfit for that event. You could have kept it covered and kept it cute. You could have kept it covered and kept it cute. Why couldn't you just be like the women from the Wicked movie? And you saw what they wore to their premiere. Yes, they still kept it sort of sexy, but they knew what they were doing. You look like you pulled up to that premiere with a Fashion Nova dress on, acting like you was about to hit the club and shake some ass. When really, you were literally about to sit in a movie theater with a bunch of kids to watch a kids movie. But I have to blame Nickelodeon on this. Why did you guys even cast this young girl when these are the antics that she's going to do? And this is not cute, honey. This is not cute. I get it. You're trying to get another hit. The Tootie song is a hit. The Tootie song, Tootie. That's a hop. That's a bop. That's a bop. But these antics are not cute, honey. These antics are not cute. These antics are not cute. Even little Nas X didn't do something like this at the Kids' Choice Awards. This is very disturbing, honey. Very disturbing. Disgusted. Disgusted. That's all I gotta say. Disturbed and disgusted. But I blame Nickelodeon. Y'all should have not casted that girl to be a character within that film. Yeah. That's what it is. That is what it is. That's all I gotta say about that. Now, let's end this episode with something that I found that popped up. I don't know if you guys know Insider. Insider is basically kind of like the more professional version of BuzzFeed, but they still keep it like BuzzFeed-ish when it comes to their content. I actually know a couple of journalists that work at Insider. Well, they have announced that 2026 will be the year of the cabbage, right? So we always know that each year people come out with trends reports, right? They come out with trends for fashion, tech, even when it comes to home design. We know that Pantone just came out with the color of the year, which was white. And I was like, really? And then they try to give it some like cloud thing. Y'all could have called that shit white out. Literally, that is the color of the year, which one day we do have to talk about an episode about how politics is actually very much involved in fashion, but we'll save that for another time. We'll save that for another freaking time where we don't have 17 topics. But they are saying that the vegetable of the year is cabbage. And that goes to show you that the economy is really going to shit because cabbage is cheap as fuck. You can make so many things with cabbage. You can make cabbage soup. I remember when y'all bitches was on the cabbage soup diet, because you know I was on a cabbage soup diet too. That shit had me hungry. But you can make so many things with cabbage, right? You can make cabbage with sausage. If you're Haitian, you can make legume with cabbage, right? You can make cabbage stew. I know some people who make cabbage alfredo. You can use it to substitute noodles. Yeah, you can stir fry it too. Cabbage is just that filling vegetable that's there to fill you up. Well, it's now the vegetable of the year, and don't be surprised how these cabbage prices are about to be going up, just like these sardines. A lot of the foods that y'all made fun of people for eating when they might have not been at a certain tax bracket are now becoming popular foods. At a certain point, y'all were making fun of people for eating oxtail. Now you can't even get no fucking oxtail in the grocery store. Wow. Now, my question is, which cabbage y'all trying to eat? Because I see a lot of y'all pushing the green cabbage, and I need y'all to leave the green cabbage alone. Y'all can push the red cabbage. Y'all can push that, but not the green one. And then in addition to that as well too, I can even think like another vegetable I think that is going to be the vegetable of the year in 2026, and it popped in my head, Japanese sweet potato. Japanese sweet potato as well. I've noticed a trend right now. A lot of y'all doing them damn sweet potato videos, putting the cheese in the sweet potato. And it's just something's telling me that Japanese sweet potato and that Japanese eggplant is about to be next. And I'm going to be pissed if y'all really do that to Japanese eggplant, because I love me some Japanese eggplant, bitch. So please leave my cabbage alone. Leave my cabbage alone. But yes, that cabbage soup had me hungry, bitch. That cabbage soup had me hungry. I was like, I gotta lose 10 pounds. This cabbage soup got me hungry. Oh my God. But you guys, thank you so much for listening to Words With Wista. You can find this podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you find this podcast, you gotta follow it. Write a review. If you could write a review on Apple, I appreciate that. 5 stars, please. 5 stars. Write a review. What else? Shout out to everybody who wrote a review. I appreciate you. I love you. You're a real one. You want to follow me on Instagram? Follow me on Instagram at It's Wista, ITSWISTA. Follow me on Substack. Yes, I write on Substack, and I also post the podcast on Substack. Follow me there at Words With Wista. If you have any constructive criticism, you have any topics you want me to talk about, just DM me. Some Wista gang members actually have my number. So if you want me to talk about something, text me, bitch. Text me. Call me, beep me if you want to reach me. What else too? Anything else at the top of my head? Oh, yes, we are going to be bringing back guest hosts. So if you want to be a guest on the show, yes, even if you're a listener, I don't care what country you in, bitch. Set a time. Check your schedule. You want to come on and talk about something? You want to talk about your career? I don't care if you work at 7-Eleven. You probably got a story to tell me. But yeah, you can be interviewed. We can have a conversation. We'll talk about whatever you want, but you got to bring some topics. Just saying. But you guys, wish you guys all the best. Just know that you are loved. You are amazing. And let's get ready for 2026, because that's going to be our year, okay? It's going to be our year. I know somebody's like, you don't sound enthusiastic. 2026 is going to be our year, you guys. I have to go now, okay? Because it's past my bedtime. Love you guys. Mwah.